What's up, everybody? I wanted to share with you a build that I've been using in the Dark Zone, and I gotta give props to King 808. He's the one I copied for this build. He's also known as Cornelius in the Dark Zone, and he's really good. At first I thought he was cheating, but he's just good, and I asked him about his build and found out what he was running, and I was actually able to put together basically the same build. So this is what it is. It's a 9k stamina strikers build. And what makes this a little bit different than some builds is it's a lower crit chance than a lot of builds. I have 41.5 crit chance, 106 crit damage, 62 headshot damage. I do have 12% submachine gun as well, but big difference here is 40% skill haste. That's the most you can get on your gear without running tactician's pieces. And for running solo in the Dark Zone, it is so important to have that skill haste. Even in a group, I find it very important to have the skill haste. There might be more efficient ways to do this build in a group, but if you run solo and in a group, it's also a really good build to do. Let me go over the gear that I've got going with this. I'm running a house with Deadly and Unforgiving. Both of those, I think, are the best talents for a 9k stam build because they don't take much firearms to unlock. House is really good. Pretty much max damage you can get with it. Now my secondary gun, some people prefer to have their sawed-off shotgun with the rolls that my secondary has, but I prefer to have it on my AR. This is what I use to kill NPCs. This is what I use to swap to when I do a melee kill or to shoot a body on the ground to finish them off. And the important stats here are predatory and determined. I would prefer this vicious was actually sustained for some health on kill right after you get the finishing touch, but vicious isn't bad. I had crafted a bunch and this was the best one I got. So what I do is once they go to the ground, swap to the M4 and preferably shoot them on the ground while moving so you can proc your on the move talent. Get that predatory to start regenerating health and the determined to get the skill cooldowns. And then if you already have a bunch of stacks with this, you can continue shooting it at the next person. Or you can switch to your house. The problem with having a sawed-off, you use it to finish them off, and then you have a maximum of 2 shots. And then you have to swap. So I find it way more efficient to actually lose damage on the AR, but have the utility stats on it. Because I don't usually use this to try to kill people. I do kill a lot of people with it because if I just finish someone off and I'm holding the M4, I will empty the mag before I switch back to the house. It's also way more useful to have these stats on your AR when you're trying to shoot and move, and you're, say, manhunt, but you gotta move, and you're also trying to get your signature skill back. Being able to just dump into an NPC with your AR is so much more efficient than trying to kill them with your sawed-off. It's just, I find it so inefficient to have to swap to the sawed-off and only have 2 shots to try to kill a group. I can kill a group of 5 NPCs before someone's, whittled them down and killed 1 or 2. So big difference there. I think the payoff is well worth it. The way I mod these guns, my C79 scope, crit damage, headshot, crit chance. My loud vent break, it's crit damage, headshot, crit chance. My grip is crit damage, stability, accuracy. Some people will put optimal range. That wouldn't be a bad idea, but it's a percentage base, so you really don't get that much out of your optimal range. Magazine, I'm running a mag size crit chance rate of fire. You could also run mag size crit chance crit damage. It's up to you. And then as far as my M4, I actually run a crit chance scope on it. 7.5 crit chance, headshot damage, and crit damage for the scope. Crit damage, crit chance, headshot damage, muzzle. I stopped running crit damage on the underbarrel of this gun because I use this to kill NPCs. Most people run a crit damage grip, but I found the reload speed drastically helped. It made a really big difference in killing NPCs quickly and getting your determined up, because this is the gun I waste ammo on killing NPCs. House is for killing players. And this is really useful. I recommend trying reload speed over crit damage on your AR. Magazine, I run mag size, crit damage, and reload speed. So I'm sitting at like a 36% faster reload speed. I've also tried Swift on the gun, and that was nice too, but I went back to Vicious because it was more efficient to have that crit chance. Especially when you're using this, you're usually full health anyways, killing NPCs, so that extra crit chance helps. My sawed-off is also Vicious, Predatory, Determined, just like my primary gun, or my secondary gun, but I rarely ever use this. I just try to switch to the my lightweight M4. As far as gear goes, if you're doing 9K and you don't know how to get there, you can afford to have one-piece firearms. My gloves are firearms. All other mods need to be stamina. And if you're going for skill haste, you need to have stamina skill haste mods, 3% skill haste. They don't all have to be perfect, but they do need to be pretty high rolls if your gear is not perfectly rolled as well. There is room to spare for unoptimized gear, though. None of my gear is fully maxed out. As far as stats on the gear goes, you want skill haste on your chest. I recommend health and ammo capacity. Mask, I run crit chance. And this one's stam. You could always change a resistance to whatever you want, or whatever you want on your minor attribute. It's not as important. Now, knee pads. This is where you could change your build up a little bit. I actually have crit damage on my knee pads. I try to shoot for having over 100 crit damage. If I lose this crit damage on my knee pads, it would drop me below 100. I would prefer to have health on my knee pads and crit damage on my backpack. Right now, I have crit damage on my knee pads, health on my backpack. You could also drop the crit damage on both and go with just health. And a lot of people do that because you get like 16,000 health or something on your knee pads. But I haven't changed that yet. Maybe I will in the future. I just don't want to drop below 100 crit damage, and I don't know why, but I just don't. As far as mods go, stamina, skill power, and I run first aid self-heal mods because this is designed for solo, running dual heals, or in a group. If you're still running dual heals, it's a good one to have. Secondary stats would be really good to have your shock resistance, disrupt resistance, and like bleed resistance or burn resistance. Something that's a trifecta resistance, but it's not as important. But keep that in mind if you find a new pair of knee pads and they might have worse rolls up here, but better minor attributes. You might want to consider dumping your division tech and making those better. Backpack is similar to knee pads. You have a choice of either health or crit damage. Unfortunately, this backpack, I rolled the ammo capacity onto it because if you're going manhunt and trying to survive multiple manhunts or whatever, I feel ammo capacity is a huge one. This gained me like almost 500 bullets to both my AR and my submachine gun. So ammo capacity on chest and backpack for me is a must-have. If you don't go rogue and you just hunt rogues, you could get away with no ammo capacity. You could actually get away with it nowhere on your gear. I wouldn't recommend that though. But yeah, if you strictly only hunt rogues, then you shouldn't have a problem with ammo capacity because you can always just go reload at any time at any safe house. But yeah, health or crit damage here. Same thing with my skill mods, stam and skill haste with first aid self-heal mods. Now, gloves. This is where a lot of people are like, what? This is how you run? I run crit chance, submachine gun damage, and skill haste. Most people would think you want crit damage on here. And you might want to, but if you're going for a max skill haste, you gotta have skill haste on the gloves. SMG damage is way more important than crit damage. As far as if you're using your SMG as your primary damage dealer. If you're using an AR instead of an SMG, then you'd want assault rifle damage. Crit chance, you gotta have it on your gloves. It's way more important than the crit damage. So in my opinion, this is the best way to roll your gloves. But feel free to change it up how it suits your build. And this is my firearms piece. And then holster, it's pretty simple. Skill haste, and then high stats elsewhere. As you can see, I still haven't fully optimized my gear. I just got to where I had enough stamina to do it. But that's pretty much the gist of the gear. The key to this, if you're not familiar with strikers, is you now gain 2 stacks for every shot landed and only lose 1 stack for every shot missed. And the nice part about it is you actually gain health per stack, a lot of health. And the more stamina you have, at 3,000, 6,000, 9,000, it changes. You gain a lot of health regen. If you're fully stacked up, you're healing pretty nice. And then if you have a predatory on top of it, you're healing real nice. And if you eat some canned food before you do that, oh man, I've had canned food with stacked up, not full stacks, but a decent amount of stacks and predatory going, got shocked and was getting shot by 3 people, and it hardly even hurt. It was insane how much healing they got, and they didn't kill me while I was shocked. So I was pretty impressed with that. Canned food makes the hugest difference. If you're ever trying to 1v4, make sure you pop your canned food before you start your fight. If you don't know where to get it, you can buy it at the Dark Zone vendors. They come in consumable caches. You can just open some of these before you start your fights. And that's a big difference. Canned food is key to winning 1 vs 4s if you're trying to flex your EP in the Dark Zone. That canned food is very important. Now, as far as talents goes and abilities, I'm running dual heals. Booster shot gives you that damage reduction and 10% damage increase. I don't use this as much for the heal as I do for the damage reduction and increase, but it does give a nice heal. And my cooldown's 30 seconds on this with my skill haste, which is not too bad. More importantly, you never want to drop this. You want to run your ammo box, or not ammo box, your immunizer box. This always gives the same amount of heal when you pop it, so you drop it on the ground and then blow it up right away if you want to get your healing. You can be sprinting, drop it, pop it, and it still heals you. It'll give you an overheal as well, 1/3 of your health every time. This has a really short cooldown. It's only 22 seconds with this skill haste, and it's amazing how fast that comes up if you get any kills in it, and also using the talent Strike Back, which I'll show you. This cooldown is very short. It feels extremely short. If you get a single kill and you get hurt with Strike Back, it's crazy how fast this comes back up. You could also run Pulse or Shock Turret or EMP, depending on what you want, but make sure if you do that, you drop your booster shot, not your immunizer. Immunizer is also nice if you start bleeding from the pred. You can pop your immunizer. If you keep bleeding, you got to go out of it and go back in it. Now, as far as talents, if you're running solo, you don't need Combat Medic. So this is what I would change if I was in a group, is I would add Combat Medic. But you want Critical Save. Very important. Damage reduction if you use your med kit when you're 1 bar or less. Strike Back. This is extremely important as well. Reach low health to reduce active skill cooldowns by 20%. This isn't 20% of what's left. This is 20% of what the total is. So if you reach 1 bar of health, all of your cooldowns just chunk down. So a lot of times when you're trying to evade and wait for your cooldown to get a heal, and you're just trying for that last little bit, and you're about to die, it pops that Strike Back and you'll get it, and it's really important. On the move, I think, is also really important. It's not as good as it used to be, but you kill a hostile while moving, and it reduces your incoming damage by 15% for 10 seconds. It's especially good in solo play, not as good in group play because everyone's kind of fighting for the kill. What I try to do is, rather than melee them, I try to switch to my AR, shoot them to build stacks while moving, and then proc the on the move. And if you have your on the move up, with predatory up, with stacks up, yeah. Canned food, it's game over. Unless you suck really bad. Now, the other thing I like to run if I'm running solo is Precision. Precision, you headshot and it pulses them for 10 seconds. Precision is actually based on the old Pulse, pre-nerf Pulse, when Pulse used to be a lot stronger. And I'm not positive on the crit chance. I've heard it's 10%. Sounds pretty accurate, around 10% crit chance. But crit damage, confirmed, I tested it myself, is 25% crit damage. A lot of people think it's about 10% crit damage, but they're looking at their overall damage increase from what they're shooting for crits, and then they put that on and it increases it. it's actually based on your base damage, not your overall damage, because it's additive. It is exactly 25% crit damage that this adds, which is, I would say, at least twice as powerful as a pulse in a group that's running even with crit damage mods. Most people run crit chance mods if they're smart, though. And really, really, really useful. The only downside is if something's already pulsed and you shoot them in the head, this does not override. Whatever's pulse is on them is what takes effect. If you hit them with the headshot and then pulse them, this is still in effect. I've tested it out, and that's how it works for me. So keep that in mind. You don't really want to run this if you're in a group with someone running pulse, but if I'm in a group, what I do is I drop this and I add combat medic. Combat medic's really important in a group. If everybody's not running this, you need to find a different group because they don't know what they're doing. Use a med kit near allies and it heals everybody within 20 meters by 40%. It's a stronger heal than a regular med kit. It makes your heal stronger, and it'll stop them bleeding and it will heal them. So like if they're about to go down, you'll hear people say pop a med kit. You pop a med kit for them, not for you. And it's really, really important. Someone in my chat saying everyone should run Battle Buddy. I don't know. Battle Buddy is good. I don't think it's necessarily a must-have. Where is Battle Buddy at? Battle Buddy is nice. When you revive a downed agent, it reduces incoming damage by 30% for 10 seconds for both players, and it does work on your signature skill. So if you pick someone up with your sig, they now have 30% damage reduction, and so do you. It's nice, but it's kind of hard for me to figure out what I would drop. If I was going to drop something, it'd be on the move. It wouldn't be a bad idea, so that is another option. Drop on the move, run Battle Buddy, so that if you do go down, especially if you're a green popper, if you're running the green sig, Battle Buddy could be a really good option for you and the person that is doing it. And if everybody's running it, when you go down, it's making two of you real strong. It's not a bad idea at all to drop on the move in a group. However, in solo play, on the move, very, very important, and so is precision. So, I think that covers all of that. I run green sig if I'm running solo. If I'm in a group, it's either yellow or blue. I'm a very bad green popper, so you don't want me in charge of reviving people. Very bad idea. But I think I got everything covered. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments below. Tell me how this build worked out for you or whatever. Again, thanks to King808 for owning us 1 versus 4 numerous times and just really pissing us off and leading me to figure out how he was healing so much, and just everything that I felt was really broken is thanks to him. And I fortunately was able to copy his build pretty much to a T. The only thing I have different, I believe, is I don't have sustained on my lightweight M4 yet. And that's the next goal, is to craft some more M4s and try to get that. And then I can be a shittier version of him. And, yep. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/streamerhouse. I also stream on my channel, twitch.tv/Inigo Montoya. And maybe I'll see you in the Dark Zone. Thank you so much. Later, guys.